Hello there. Right, this is the Robland SD410 Planer thicknesser. I'm going to give you a little walk around today explaining some of the features and some of the differences between the bigger 510 and the smaller machines which are currently out of stock, which is called the NXSD, which are based on the combination range actually. So the SD410, it's an industrial machine. It's got a two-speed feed here, which is controlled by the switch, and a separate motor for the feed and gearbox. So it's not a sort of a twin drive thing like you get on the entry-level machines, where the actual cutter block drives the feed. So, and I'll come around and show you how this all works as well. So there's your thicknessing on here. So it's got a nice little guard on the front, which can be folded in half, which makes it easier for walking by. You don't have to keep getting around it, so that just pulls out. So if you can see this, just pulls out, folds out the way. Okay, the fence, we've got nice sort of cast iron section on the back of the fence, well, so it's nice and solid. Solid steel bar there as well, which means it's very rigid with a single lock point here. Okay, obviously fence moves backwards and forwards. We've also got the angle. Let's walk around the other side and I'll show you how the fence actually angles as well. So you have the scale on here, and we unlock it, and the fence can angle around to 45 degrees. So when you're doing any bevels, angles, no problem at all. Okay, there's your angles fence. And let's bring it back to 90 and lock it off again. Okay, now you'll also see, let's just see how it glides backwards and forwards, nice and easy. You'll also notice it's got a small fence on the top here. Now, this is very useful when you're actually machining in quite small pieces. This is just an example I've got here. But when it's something quite small, you can actually get your hands over the top of it. You're not having to sort of, yeah, it's a lot, so very difficult for me to show you obviously with one-handed camera. But compared to being up against the fence, it means that we're not having to sort of do this action. Maybe that's it, right-handed. We can sort of get our hand over here. You can see. So it's a lot safer than having to work on the smaller pieces. So that's the feature. That comes as standard. It's got little magnets that hold it back in place. When you get back to 90. There we go. Okay, and for the surfacing, we have a little scale here for the stock removal, and a simple lever here to take the lock off. And you see here, look, this is taking the fence up and down. So all we're doing there is just taking enough off to straighten the material. So once you're happy where you are, you can lock that off. Okay, I will come onto the block. I'll wait until I flip the table to show you these spiral blocks and talk about the advantage of these blocks. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the blocks now. They've been around a good number of years, but we actually now choose to put them in as standard, so we'll come on to that. Right, okay, so this is the surfacing position. Okay, now let's show you the thicknessing position. So first of all, I'm going to make sure this is locked off. That is locked off. And I've got two handles to release here. One here, and then one on the infeed, so. Okay, that's sprung loaded, so you'll see it's already lifted up. And if we push it up together, so push it by one hand, you see the table comes up and locks in position. Now this is pretty impressive actually. This is a very heavy duty assembly. They have the honeycomb cast assembly here for maximum strength to make sure there's zero twist. It's also braced across here. So yeah, it's an obvious thing to say, but the most important thing when surfacing is that your tables are perfectly flat. And each time when you come back down again, we have a lock system which locks into here to make sure that we're back in the same position time and time again. There is a little bit of adjustment on this back table, but once that's set, that will be locked. That will typically be something we can do sometimes on a commission, just double check that it's level with the knives on the back. But once that's set, you wouldn't be adjusting that back fence for any reason, because we've got the knives here that are constantly set, are set without any alteration of anything. They're just in and they stay in, unless you want to turn them around, or as and when they wear it, you need to, well, as and when you need to change them, basically. That's the thing. I mean, for me, the big misconception on these blocks, and I think the first time I saw them, I thought something similar. I think people are thinking, oh, well, they're going to take so long to change. But no, you will never be changing all of them at once. I mean, you may eventually, after a couple of years or whatever, you may want to put a new set on, but you change them as and when you need to. So, for example, if we, if we were to machine a piece and we could see a mark, where the cutter hit could hit a tack or a bit of mineral and chip it. These are all on an angle on a spiral. So the next one along will clear it out, and that's a very big dent. And in that case, or once they become a little bit blunt, we can actually then change them around. Now these are all on a torque setting here. So you basically can turn these around. These are all numbered or lettered in the Martin Boblin's case. You can just turn it around to the next. Again, the joys of working one-handed, but there we are. So you can spin it around. I'll just put that back where it should be, which is ABC. So you can keep an eye on what you're doing. So the longevity of operation is, the longevity of the knives is an important thing. But also the finish on these machines and the noise. So people often talk about the noise. I mean, I think you guys are probably most interested in the fact it's quieter and the fact it's an amazing finish. We like the fact that, if you're surfacing, typically you're going to be using this first quarter of, depends what you'll be doing, of course, but typically a lot of guys will use this first quarter for components and stuff. Thicknessing generally tends to be done in the middle. So a lot of the time you find these knives on the back don't get as much juice as the ones on the front, so you can chop and change. So yeah, it's amazing. If you've not seen them before, I mean, a lot of people still talk about terse. I mean, they're okay, but one of the other things about these machines is actually when we're actually contacting the grain, we're not hitting it square on like you are with a terse knife or a steel knife. It's on a shear angle, which means you're actually coming along the grain on an angle. So it's not all sort of. It just means for a lot easier stock removal, less strain on the motor, less power required, quieter. And actually, even when we're surfacing, obviously we're not too, the finish on surfacing isn't the main thing. But the point is you've got so much less tension there and stress. It's quite easy just to pull across on the surfacer because there's less resistance on a shear angle. So all round, same on our Martins, everything now we put a spiral block on. Okay, so this is the thickness position. We've got anti-kickbacks here and steel outfeed rollers there, steel infeed, extraction hood here. So there we go, just put the extraction and away you go. I've just realised we don't actually have this machine switched on, so maybe for another video I like to have it switched on. But basically you've got a rise and fall here. It's pretty obvious how this works. Just got a rise and fall, and then you have a fine adjust when you get to a 1/10 of a millimetre, if you need to fine adjust it. Okay, this works on 4 pillars as well, so it's a very industrial table, nice and long. This has got the comfort pack, so it's got spiral, digital readout, twin speed on the feed, and an outfeed table as well. So yeah, I mean that's that's basically the SD410. Hopefully you like that. We can do another video of the 510. 510 is basically a bigger, heavier machine, bigger capacity, and yeah, it's the same principle. The way it works, the fence and everything is the same, and of course we have the spiral on that one as well. So okay, well thanks for watching that video, and any questions then let us know. Thank you.